Just move some stuff around here and then we'll get started. Insane good. Whoops. Hang on. I don't have as much of a morning hair as I thought I would. Give me a sec here. I'm gonna turn the webcam on. Media source. This guy. And this guy. Cool. Meh. Jester, you're here too, man. Awesome. It's like, wait a minute, what is this? Lead and 3D artist at Tarhead Studio. I'm like, oh no, he's trying to, get his first. What is that? What is Tarhead Studio? Unless I was linked incorrectly. What's up, man? Just Scopes, how you doing? Okay, so what was written? Indie company, huh? Cool. What the hell? Okay, so is a portfolio good enough to get work in AAA? Currently working in an indie studio for 2 years experience. Also, my outdoor scene is the foliage a must fix. I can see that it's not that great. Grass and trees. We're just focused on making a new and better outdoor scene. And then I believe you also linked me some new screens of your updated art or foliage. So I'll get those up too. So we'll look at that after we look at your other stuff. We'll look at that scene last. So overall right now your portfolio is, especially Artstation formatted, is really nice. You have a nice banner. You have a good, is that a portrait? Like a painted portrait? Oh, they're in Artstation now too? Okay, cool. Cool. So, in general, your Artstation looks pretty solid. The selection is small but strong. I like seeing the individual assets. Okay, we'll start here. So this is a good, just gonna scroll through these real quick before I start saying anything. This music's crazy. Let me know if the music's too loud as well. Alright, so what I'm seeing, this asset in general is really strong. I'm curious, like poly count wise, it's a little high, but I think for like a hero asset where you're just showing the modeling of stuff, it's pretty good. the this detail right here where this is popping out. Let me get the. So this guy. Whoa, hey. Let's mark a little smaller. So this detail here. You're adding a lot of geometry in order to try and get it to sell. And then like these support loops, like let's see if I can do this. I get nice and close. Sorry, it's gonna be a little bit blurry. Volume's good, awesome. So like this edge detail here, you could just connect that point to this one, and then go along here, and then connect here to here, and you get rid of all of that extra geo. There's some extra geometry up here as well. That's pretty, like I don't think you need that. Oh, thanks, Nathan. Hello. Have a good evening. So anyone that's new here, awesome. This is a time that I don't normally stream, so welcome. Welcome. Detail-wise, it can be pretty high. I'm trying to figure out, like, it looks like this is like a floating mesh or a mesh that's pushed into the asset. So I'm not sure why this is here. I guess because you cut a hole and you wanted to clean up the geometry after the opening. You can optimize a lot of these edges to not. What's up, Omega? Robe Omega. How you doing? Did I get the deep voice early in the morning? So easy. 5 a.m. Dude, beast. Let's see here. This area is pretty high poly as well. Might not need to be that high. Maybe on this side it could stay high, and then in here you can like merge every other and keep the same kind of fidelity. Hey Corey, how you doing, man? Overall though, this asset's really good. We can look at this will actually be some good information as well. Do you have any reference for this mesh? I guess I could look this up. Oh, hang on here. Camera standing in your room, dude, that's so sick. What's your grandpa's, right? It looks like I found it, and you have the flash thing at the top collapsed or closed off. So the reason I want to look at the reference is I want to see what the roughness is like. Let's see if I can find a larger image of this. Because I want to say that your roughness isn't is possibly too light, like value-wise, it's too bright. So it's like it's coming off very plasticky. But I think that's kind of how it is, isn't it? Man, these images of it are really small. I guess to show some of the aging, to get some more range in the roughness variation. Like if I full screen this and you go into, oh, I'm getting controls mixed up. So if we look at like, let's see here. If we look at this view, oh god damn it. so spacebar can do that. I'm like, what are these controls? It's like I was just moving the light around. There it is. Shift left click. You can see on the edges here. You can see it down here. Let's see if we can get a better angle. When you rotate the environment around, getting these little variations in your roughness. Let's see. Yeah, see these little random variations in the frame? Like getting that in here would be really good, I think. And you have like a noise going on right now in this area. And I think that the roughness wouldn't have a noise like that. Later, Nathan. Have a good night. I don't think that the roughness has a noise like that. It's more of a... Roughness is like a property of a material, right? So that noisiness would mean that it was like air blasted by like sand or something. But even then, like it wouldn't be speckled like that. Oh, that's awesome. There's a 1 in there. So we go to this view. You can see it a bit clearer as well. This is more of a hero prop though, so. Oh yeah, make sure that you double side this or something back here. Just because, I mean, you're not trying to ship it, right? So you could get away. You could get away with that. Yeah, if you get, I mean, maybe it's not as realistic, but if you could get some more range in your roughness, that would help a lot. Because right now everything's pretty much the same value. Minus like, it's like an AO pass almost. Like if you see the top, this material actually seems to behave a lot more how I'm expecting. And the difference between this and this is nice because then you're getting different types of roughness play. And the more roughness variation you can get, is the better your asset's gonna look. Oh, this is cool. This side here. Other than that, I think there's some seam stuff, which is might be a little nitpicky because usually you're gonna look at an asset like this close, and that's if you're like inspecting it like in Uncharted. Pretty cool. All right, let's go look at some other stuff. Oh, camera ref. Oh yeah, it's pretty reflective. It looks like you took a picture with a flash. So usually when you're trying to, what's up, Freud? So when you're trying to, like I always say that roughness is probably the most important like map right now for materials and in PBR games, right? Or PBR art, physically based. Variation and the quality of your roughness shines through all other maps. And so I think when taking reference pictures, like this is a good one because then you get to see like the blowout of like how roughness reacts with the lighting. But then also getting it where there's no flash and then maybe you have like a point light or like a little LED or a flashlight that you get some glancing angles of, just so you can see how the light reflects off of that material in a very focused area. Just get a lot of different lighting scenarios so you can just see and understand how it's reacting. If you can get it to match in multiple ways, it's gonna look good. This song. All right, so props for the bedroom. So the bedroom scenes here. I'm kind of debating these being separate, right? These assets being separate. Yeah, I think there's not enough for these to be separate. Maybe, let's see here. We're gonna look at this one closer in a minute. I just want to see the. Yeah, see, it seems like these need to be combined. There's not very many images in that one, and they just fit this one better. If you want to keep them separate to pad your portfolios, because like when I see that, I assume that means you feel like your portfolio doesn't have enough work in it as far as the tiles go, so you're separating it out to add more tiles. If you want to keep them separate, I would move this to this spot and then move this guy here. But let's look at these props here. So in general, the scene is super strong. From a distant shot, it's like really, if I zoom out like that, it's really strong. The lighting looks really nice. When you look at the image as a whole, just like staring at it, it's... Oh, scopes, it's okay, man. It's not about shitting on people. It's about pointing out where you can grow the fastest, right? It's like you can fix the key things, starting with the most like the worst thing, and then work your way down. You will exponentially look better. So let's first let's talk about all the... Did I catch my logo? Oh yeah, I did. This. Yeah, I was mentioning that the other day. So that's super cool. I'm just like, oh. So first of all, the good. Compositionally, really strong. The amount of colors that are in the scene, without like going crazy in the like it doesn't look noisy somehow, you know. This door being open is really cool. I like this. These being open, stuff hanging off the sides, that's really cool. Stuff hanging out of this. I like how the drawer, like as it comes out, you know, drawers aren't perfect. As they come out and they get further and further out, they're going to start leaning. And this one's definitely, it's got the lean going on, right? The amount of posters and stickers and stuff is really cool. I gotta change this song. I'm not in the mood. I'm not in the mood, man. The dressers and all that stuff, the propping, the details are really good. The attention to detail is really strong. Materials look pretty nice. The fact that there's something outside the window is really good. Is there duct tape holding the floor together? I don't think so. You're talking about this stuff? So I guess we can start getting into this stuff that I'm confused about, or the things that look off to me. So first we'll look at resolution of geometry, and then we'll look at lighting, and then we'll look at materials. So geometry wise, I'm gonna just highlight areas. Let me see if this will highlight well. Yeah, cool. So I'm going to highlight areas that look low poly. And then we can just so we know where those are at. So I'll highlight low poly looking areas, as well as like areas where it looks like there's like a sharp triangle, or it just looks like it needs more support geo. I'm going to circle this one because that one's like a good example of like how you can adjust. I'll do that too. Okay, so all the areas I've kind of highlighted are, I'm just double checking to make sure. In general, I think those are where there's kind of this line too. So let's, probably should have just did this in Photoshop. Photo poo. That one doesn't stick out as much to me. So I'm going to do this. All right. And then we'll clear that. And we'll go back to this. Copy. Like, where is... There we go. Okay. So when it comes to highlighting this stuff, I guess areas like this. So I circled this one, right? Oh, hang on here. So this one's like from here, it's too low. So from here to here feels like a straight line. And all you need is like one more point to kind of round it out a bit. Really weak and stream. What's up, man? So rounding that out a bit is going to help sell the geo a little bit more. Then also you have like a really straight line here as well. If you were to take this and bring it down, let's make this darker so you can see, and then do something like that. I'll just fill it in. It's kind of hacky, but I'll just eyedrop some values so it doesn't look, so you can see already how much that changes the mood or shape. Like that's pretty, like that would help a lot, right? It breaks that edge up. The other areas I highlighted, it's just taking that kind of same approach with the mirror. I feel like you could probably, I would look at how mirrors break, and if you want, just take a look at broken windows and stuff, and maybe try doing like some contrasting. Let's see if I can. Let's see if I can find a good. So when you're creating the cutout for that, using an image to cut to could give you a pretty good realistic result. Let me see if I can. Obviously this is kind of hacky, but the way I'm doing this. So like that alone, getting the fracture, those little micro fracture lines that go like this. Oh man, come on. What is happening? Like these lines. Oh man. So these kind of micro lines, you could model those in as well. That would just getting that break up into the fractures so that you're not getting this look, because that like immediately screams geometry. Just pay for that extra geometry. What else we got here? So other things other than the geometry, we're going to talk about like values and like materials and stuff and lighting. So right now, lighting wise, the lighting is making everything in here sing, right? It looks really good. If we copy this, we'll make a new one. Oh, that's not what we wanted. So if we look at this, and let's do the value check. So we'll make a layer in the background like usual. We'll paint it yellow just because that's going to be the easiest to see. And double click the layer. Let's start moving the darkness value. So if you could get information into those areas, even if it's really dark still, that would be really, really good. This is pretty micromanagey stuff because it looks like this is pretty subtle. I would also suggest taking a screenshot at like 4K if you can, and then sizing it down to 1080, just because the resolution of the image is gonna just look so much nicer. I know that you were struggling with the glass for the mirror material. I think my personal opinion is let it be the cube map, and it doesn't need to be a real-time reflection for this shot, because it being a cube map versus this kind of noisier stuff going on is in my opinion looks better. As far as materials go, your materials look pretty solid. There's some weird like the detail on this wallpaper stuff. It's too large, so it almost looks like a leather wallpaper, or like a I don't know how else to explain it. It just, the material is not the same. The other thing is the wood paneling in behind the mirror. This stuff here is so close in value to the wall that I can't tell if that's the wall at the same time or not. The population of stickers and posters is really good. The values in the materials for the stickers and posters is much better now. This stuff here, this stuff, and geez, what is going on with the... So this stuff, this is very, very dark. And then this stuff down here, I'm actually not sure what that stuff is. So it's like, it's really hard for me to judge the what to say about it. Oh, I just noticed there's mirror pieces on the ground. That's awesome. Very cool. Oh yeah, there's this line back here. Just take that curtain rod and raise it up so that it covers up here, and you'll get a much better look. I like this picture frame being rotated or tilted a bit. The close it's a clear duplication of assets inside of those, so be really careful with that. And then like how straight and even they are. Like add some hoodies and long sleeves in there just to break it up. Are these shoes down here as well? Maybe taking that shoe rack and then tilting it so that the back of the shoes is down. So like if you were to take this area and look at it from so this is the closet, this is the back side of it, so deep inside, and then this is the side we're looking into. Right now you have the shelves doing this, and then the shoe, right there. If you take the shelf and tilt it back like this and add a little lip there, and then put your shoe in, you'll get a much easier time viewing. I don't know if those are shoes or not, but you'll get an easier time viewing that stuff. Or selling that that's what it is, because since it's so close to the clothes. And then maybe the clothing. Maybe unify the colors of the clothing a bit more. Just because I feel like they're using like temp material colors. Ugly shoes. You're like, I'm hiding it, man. I'm hiding it. They're so small that you could make like some okay Converse shoes that are dark, right? And then put them down there and it'll look fine. It'll sell the look. Oh, I just noticed this is really low poly as well. This area here. In general, this is solid though. There's just like, I'm being nitpicky about a lot of stuff. The dark spots I was talking about up here, those need to be like at least half their darkness. Using materials or using colors in your materials that don't have a color in them is not good. And right now these actually feel like they're a black or close to black with a mask, right? I think if it were to be actually closer to this value and then made darker, that would probably do the trick. Let me see if I can. Let's see if I can hack something. I mean, maybe I can take this area and then do this. So I'm gonna see if this works. I have no idea if this is gonna desaturate it. Basically gonna make a mask out of it. So already, right, this is pretty dark, of course. And it's really thresholded as well. It's like sharp. So maybe I'll blur that really fast because I crunched the range to get the background to go away. What am I doing here? Don't want to do too much. So right now you have it pretty dark. So if you lower it down and you just have it as like a value that's changing the color under it, that's going to be much stronger. But yeah. Overall though, materials look really nice. Props look really nice. There's just all the little small nitpicky stuff. Let's see here. Yeah, these close-ups look really good. The aging of this board here versus everything else seems like this one's a bit more extreme. It might not fit as well. Yeah, see this. So while this is really blown out and stuff, maybe you can control the blowout a little bit more. I think that the material itself for mirror material looks stronger than like trying to get the real-time reflection going on. Oh, wow. Okay, so in this angle, if you're going to show this view, you need to do something with the wall behind the headboard of the bed. And the bed feels really thin. It's like, I don't know how thick the mattress is on it. In general, though, this is really solid. Showing these props as well, like it feels strange if you scale anything in this view. So, for example, the backpack's really large, and same with the is that a purse? The purse, like I wouldn't scale anything when you're showing your set of materials or props. This is really cool to see. Seeing, like, when I see this, I'm like, oh man, is there more? And then I scroll down, and that's where this comes in, where I see more of this stuff, because this is really exciting. Like, this asset looks really cool. But yeah, I mean, this scene's solid. The lighting is like, you worked on that really hard. I know that. This star, it feels really weird. Material wise, I'm not sure, like maybe it's in the reference like that. Yeah. Okay, so this is the backpack that's also in the scene, I take it. We looked at this before. In general, this backpack looks really good. To get some value change on it would be nice, like in the roughness. Like where there's metals, giving that a different value in the roughness, and the leather maybe making it pop a little bit more through roughness would be good, just to get some variation. And then, like, I don't know, are those stickers or are they pins? If they're pins, those should be really, really reflective, right? At the bottom here. It's just missing, like, everything's kind of an averaged roughness when it could be like, you could have a range of like pretty dark mid grays and then some whites, and I think it would look good. These stickers on the side are cool. It's awesome. We'll look at this guy now. So we went through, or you went through, tons of iterations on this stuff. In general, I love how you're doing this table. It's awesome. This type of work. So I really like this type of stuff, right? Where you go in and hand custom dent and damage stuff like this. Everyone should know that taking this approach takes a long time, and getting it to in the game industry, when you're building stuff like this, it's usually better to just make a tileable of this type of material, and then map your UVs to make it kind of look like this, instead of spending the time making it look like this in a high poly. That said, though, I mean, it can be debated. It's just when it comes to speed and efficiency, what I do on stream and what we're seeing here is like that hand catered sculpting detail. You just won't have time to do that in game development, usually. If it's a hero prop, they may give you the time for it. Still looks cool, though. And I like what you did with this brushed pattern for the material. It really helps with the way the light plays across the surface. In general, I mean, you've heard what I've said about this scene before. There's a lot of different roughness variation that's happening in here, and I think it could just use a little bit more range as well. Like the head on this vase thing, this glass milk container thing is good. The roughness on this is good. The roughness on the utensils feels like it may be a little dull. This feels nice, the jam on the bread. And then your wood seems to be, I feel like it needs a detail normal or something on it, like a wood grain detail normal, and then lower the strength of it until it's just enough there to feel like you can run your finger across the surface and feel it, right? Right now it feels really smooth despite all the little damaging and detail stuff you've got going on. You're getting good separation on the ground now too, which is good. I don't know if you're using a real shadow or like the floating shadow that I was talking about. You could put on a card if you wanted to hack it. And then look at your roughness on the oranges. It might even need some subsurface information in there to help sell that. In general, solid scene though, I really like the variation of props on the surface and then like all the stuff that's kind of scattered around. Yeah, dopeness. All right, back to this guy. So this one's super cool. Overall, there's a lot of detail and stuff going on. Like if we look at just the image here, I'll just copy this image and we'll go to Photoshop. So if we look at this image, right? If we grayscale it, then let's blur it. Oops. So if we just start doing this. So as far as ranges go, you're drawn to this. Oh, you're drawn to this area and this area. Now this area is larger, arguably. Like it includes the side of the building as well, so it's more like that. Is bigger than this area, and I think you want your focus to be here. If you like, are these trees on the right? No, they're not. The trees on the right actually look greener than the tree on the left, and I think it's just because of the lighting direction hitting it. Maybe your subsurface on your trees is more of a green, and then your actual albedo on the leaves is more of like a yellowish. In general, I think this is looking pretty solid. The ivy is looking pretty good. I think this where things are breaking down right now is scale. Like the size of this, whoops. The size of this post versus like the size of these, the size of the dumpster. Like if you look at the size of this door and then the size of this, I think this is a dumpster. Like the scale is crazy. Like the fence is as tall, I guess as tall as the doorway. Fences are usually taller than that. Sometimes they're the same, but and then like the size of the mesh is strange. Like this mesh down here actually feels like a block out. So with the boarded up windows, it's very strange that they're so far away from the window frame itself. And maybe they just look far because of the shadow. But when you board a window up, usually it happens from the inside, right? Which is good. And then it's hammered to the frame, if not the wall of the room. You're also losing a lot of your detail here with this piece. Like beveling these edges or emphasizing the edges more through maybe a normal or something will make them pop a bit more. And then making sure that your UV maps correctly on these bricks that you're extruding out. You are trying to do some silhouette breakups here, which is good. This is also pretty nice. Maybe a little bit more geometry will benefit you. So like, let's see if we just do some breakup. So I'm just cutting some of the edges. So like just doing that, like look how much more detail that has, and it's just like I beveled those edges. The ceiling here is really, or the roof I guess, is really straight. This stuff, if there's anything you can do to break that up, that'll be good. Even if it's just adding a few cuts and then grabbing that edge and lowering it so that it does something like this, will be super beneficial. Are you going off reference for this? Oh, that's interesting. So the foliage in this shot on the ground, variety-wise, looks pretty good, and is actually seems to be rendering better than the foliage in this scene. It might be because the shadows are softer, or maybe the lighting is not baked in this scene. I would look at the value and the saturation of the fern-like foliage. Those feel like they're really saturated. I mean, maybe that's okay, but comparison of the ground to everything else, the grass and the foliage on the ground is quite saturated with a green versus the rest of the scene. I'd be curious if you're using color grading or doing some post work with colors and like a post process volume, just to see what the colors are originally. I like this telephone pole. Maybe having it in front of the tree so that it's more prominent, and then making sure that the cables aren't as thick as they are here. Like, think about the scale of everything. Like, I always look at a door. So if you look at a door and then if you can get a handle on there, and then just have a character, place a character around and just check your scales of everything. But usually I can just make a mental note of door handle sizes and then make a comparison between other props and like, okay, if the door handle is like there, and I know it's that size, if I put my, if I put that door handle next to this prop, does that prop look weird now? Like, do I see a scale problem? And like these cables, for sure, like those cables up there are like this right now. Maybe even more, maybe more like this. They're huge. And then you could exaggerate these shapes here. These guys, you can exaggerate those. You can make those like twice their size just to bring emphasis to them. Maybe on the telephone pole, you can add little stickers or posters or so-and-so's missing, or like all the like tiny little things that you get at the base of a telephone pole. In general, it's pretty solid though. Yeah, see, the telephone pole needs a detail normal as well. The Chursing Hotel. Oh yeah. Interesting. Okay, let me get a picture up for everyone. So if we grab this, we'll do that, and then we'll copy this one. Did you try doing this yet? Can get weird sometimes, but so you can see how much room is on the lower floor and the usage of the white paint in contrast to the brick. If you can get that separation. What's up, Kuhn? No, crits have not started yet. They're going to be starting here in a minute. But look at the scale of everything. So Ivy-wise, your Ivy is huge compared to theirs in reality. And where the grass is kind of dying or is broken up, like it's pretty desaturated. So if you can play with that a bit more and get variation in the height of your grass. I guess I can illustrate that a bit, can't I? Because I have grass in my scene now. But yeah, look at the height of these beams. And then the height of those beams. I guess it's not really a fair comparison right now, because yeah. Yeah, and then the emphasis on those windows, I would just work with the ranges in your colors right now. Like, I'm not seeing the building doesn't feel as tall. This sign thing is actually placed on the front of the brick, whereas in yours it feels like it was under the brick and the brick was removed to expose it. And then the white frames and white, wherever there's white paint, is not being pushed enough, I think, in yours right now. And then watch your scale on everything and the scale on the Ivy. Once you fix that, I would say... Once you fix that, I would say your portfolio is actually good enough to get a entry-level position in AAA. Like, once this guy is as polished as this one... I mean, I think you could start applying now, but if you want to have the most impact and highest chance of getting a position, fix this one first. Like, do all those adjustments we were talking about, and then, yeah. When it comes to the grass stuff I was talking about with scale and density, let me see if I can get my... It's going to be a little choppy, but just because the scene is unreal and I'm streaming it. Is the stream running okay? Because it says I dropped some frames a little while ago. I might have to get a i9, man. I don't know if you guys saw those. They're freaking crazy. People streaming with like half the cores and then the rest are being used for the computer. Running good for you? All right, cool. Cool. Twitch chat memes. Oh, come on. Do you guys know why the editor always loads the first scene that you made? Like, I need it to point to another scene, and I'm sure it's just a matter of redirecting and pointing it somewhere else. So it always loads this scene, and then I have to go file, load, and I have to wait for this too. Good times. After I do this, we're going to be looking at your guys' stuff on the art related channel from the Discord. So in here, how's the frame rate? It's not too bad. So in here, I've got grass, right? And the grass scale variety, like, good practice is to gravitate your grass height around areas of being the most protected. Dude, the wind is like too crazy on this stuff right now. Let's see if I can. So like this over here, if I remember correctly, this is a good example. So this, like, the grass height in areas that are super protected because of the bricks really helps sell the, I'm going to just lower this, it's bugging me. So when these stones are protecting the grass, right? So the grass has an area of protection and it can just grow freely. You get some variety like that going on, you're going to be in a really good spot. Like, it happens over here as well, in areas where it's pretty safe. Let's see if I can't grab the grass. You're going to get taller grass. Right? And then just make sure that that gradient's off pretty quickly. It just looks more, it tends to look more natural. So if you need to, you can even do. But yeah, just pay attention to like how that stuff flows. Edit project settings. Realm Keeper, thanks man. Edit project settings, map and modes. Editor startup map. Edit project settings, maps and modes. It's not in here, is it? Maps and modes, editor start level, gem. Whoa, I'm like, which one's what? It's probably that one, because that one looks the most up to date. Dude, thanks, man. Dope. All right, I'm going to switch over, and then we're going to look at Discord. I'll be right back, guys. Thanks for hanging out.